G'day mates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to start off by breaking down all the major events from around the world in FNCS this weekend, and we've got some big topics to talk about. We have huge names like Tayson, Jack's team, Chap's team, pickaxing, skybasing, just messing around in FNCS. Whether there'll be any repercussions about this, whether it's against terms of service that teams are just clearly not taking this seriously. We have Benji Fishy over in EU coming second place with his new team dominating, but as always, drama just seems to follow Benji Fishy everywhere. Another EU pro now being accused of breaking terms of service by leaving a game early, and some people calling for him to be banned. I want to show the clips, talk about it, give my thoughts on it as well. Down in my home region, OCE, we have the announcement from the X2Twins that Jesse is retiring from competitive Fortnite, but it looks like Jordan wants to continue playing, so I want to talk about what that means. And at the end of today's video, I'm going to be talking about the gold strategy, or I should call it gold glitch, that a lot of pros are abusing to guarantee they get over 1,000 gold instantly in a tournament for doing next to nothing. Before I get into breaking down what's going on in FNCS, talking about which teams are doing well, some of the notable points, I know a lot of you guys are going to keep saying the same thing, and yes, I'm aware that certain teams aren't trying their hardest in FNCS. We have plenty of examples of this. Just today on NA East, we had Chap's team building sky bases in their final games. We had Jack, Acorn, and Slacks building these giant staircases to just fall off and go down. We obviously have Tayson's team messing around. I've already talked about that. Kanata, Mackwood, and Bucky qualified in only 3 games. I know, but I'm still going to talk about FNCS. I'm still going to mention the teams are doing well, but you do have to keep that in the back of your mind when we look at some of these teams that are doing fantastic, or maybe some teams I'm not mentioning. I'm really waiting until heats and grand finals to make my big judgments on just how well teams are doing, but still, there's a lot of teams that are trying, and there's a lot of really good things to take out of this FNCS right now, despite some teams not taking it as seriously as what you'd like. I'm not going to be doing a full comprehensive breakdown of the different regions, especially EU, because again, my knowledge base just isn't there as much. I've got a bunch of people I'm bringing on board who are kind of, filling me in on some of the gaps that I might have. I'm going back, I'm watching the VODs, but just for today's video, don't come at me in the comments for forgetting some big teams. I just want to run through some of the teams that I've had an eye on and that I want to mention really important things happening with. So I know EU fans, I love you guys. Please don't flame me too hard if I miss out on your favorite team. I know the French community keeps getting so angry at me about not talking enough about the French teams. It's coming, I promise you. It's just, man, I can't understand what you guys are saying half the time. The scrims are guarded, everything's blocked off, so until they pop off in the tournaments, it's hard to talk about, but I promise you the shout outs are coming. But the team I wanted to talk about most today is Amplify, Matzo, and Benji Fishy, coming in second place on 135 points, playing 6 matches, winning 2 of them, having average elims of 4.67 and an average placements of 9.17. They played so phenomenally well, and again, proving there that in the kind of conversation I was having with Mongrel, Mitro, Benji Fishy, proving that at least as far as Benji Fishy goes, it's not that the players are the issue, it was just their team. It was the dynamic of the team, it was the chemistry of the team, because Benji Fishy going on and with his brand new team of less than a week, coming in second place in round 4 and just absolutely dominating. Now, apart from just their solid performance and how well they played, I need to talk about a bit of the drama that surrounded it and make myself very clear at the start here that I do not think that Toose should be banned for this. This clip was taken around, everyone was talking about it on Twitter. Oh my god, do you think Gambit Toose is gonna get banned? He did what Aqua did, he left a game, he was griefing, everyone was freaking out. I was sleeping during EU because, it's like 3 a.m. for me. I went back and watched the VOD. It's just not that serious. Let me show you what happened.
Yeah, coming, yeah, Debbie Kim. I'm in.
I'm coming.
Nice! Good.
Shake him. We can easily insta-kill the third.
He left. Oh. What is that?
Mom's life, Toose, you're getting banned. He's resting, maybe?
No, I gotta finish.
On me.
Yeah. Going up. He's just staying on height. I'm hopping him out.
Keep winning.
I'm getting in. Aim box. Crack. Dead. Nice, Master. Good. Get a out.
He's getting banned insta.
So if you don't even know why people are freaking out about this, what happened there was as Toose was being shaken down, he left the game, which gives his team a big advantage. Now, unfortunately, Benji Fish's team doesn't know where his teammates are, so they are at a disadvantage, and this is against terms of service. I'm not going to say it's not, but I just think in the circumstances where Benji Fish's team still ends up killing the teammate very quickly after, they're laughing, they're making jokes, you hear the whole, I'm going to report that, he's going to get banned. I don't want to look into it too much. I don't know. I don't think Amplify, Matzo, and Benji Fishy actually want to see Toose get banned for this one. I think if you do it in a different circumstance, it's really bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say this is good. I'm just trying to say use this as an example of what not to do. Just don't ever even consider leaving the game in this situation or doing something like this. But then to go and see a pro potentially get banned or something for this would just be so depressing when the outcome was exactly the same. It's in a tournament for no prize money. Both teams placed in the top 10 and qualified. They ended up eliminating the teammate anyway, so for me, there was no really massive negative effect. I only wanted to bring it up because I saw so many people in the community talking about it. Benji Fishy did this on stream to over 50,000 people, so obviously it got attention, it got people talking, but once you look at the actual clip, I think it's fair to say it wasn't as bad as what people were making it out to be, but also taking this chance to highlight this is against terms of service. People could get banned for this though, so don't do it yourself. We had a really solid performance from a lot of other teams making it inside the top 10 as well. A lot of notable performances, but like I said, I'm going to wait until a later video to really break it down when we come into heats and come out of heats. But we did get to see teams like Kami and Teak, first time making it to round 2, not being able to rest on their consistency points from round 1, managed to make it inside the top 10 and outright qualify. We had other massive teams as well, like Nate. So showing that just because teams didn't make the finals in round 1 doesn't mean they can't then have a big performance in round 2. So teams that have struggled so far in round 1 and 2, I'm not putting it past them to have a big performance in round 3 to get inside that top 10. We also had iDrop, Tasted, and Savage just missing out on the top 10. Damn, I bet they're so upset with how hard they've been trying. You know, they've really been grinding to get in. Yeah, I can't keep that going. They're very clearly not trying and they're still coming in 11. So they're looking ridiculously phenomenal as well. The one team that did struggle that, you know, needed to have a big day, I think they'll still get in off consistency, sorry, is the team that struggled in week 1 to even make round 4, Thomas HD, Anas, and Flick. Now, in this format, unfortunately, they didn't do the greatest. They did only have 5 of the 6 games. They were contested on Sport at Dirty Dogs, which caused a lot of friction, a lot of drama. We actually saw one of them tweet out this picture, which was pretty funny. And again, I know a lot of people are saying, like, you know, that's not fair. You can't be that brutal. The other team did go live streaming with it in their title, literally griefing Dirty Dogs. So, I mean, I don't feel too bad about Flame going backwards and forwards, but I'm gonna leave that to the players. But overall, it was a really good tournament from EU. The games were super exciting. Not all the teams were trying their hardest, so again, I don't want to look into it too much on performance, but it was overall a really good tournament. Moving over to NA East, we had an insanely dominant performance for a team that I can't be more proud to support. Deroller, Klass, and Kalazo. They popped off. They had 6 games played, 2 wins, an average elims of 8.33, an average place of 3.5, finishing on 233 points, beating out even Clicks, Bizzle, and Booger's insanely dominant performance in week 1. And one of their games, I'm so happy to say they did it with the snowball launcher. I made yesterday's video talking about it. It was insane. Game number 2's win came on the back of the snowball launcher. We got to see just how powerful it was on the main stage, on the official broadcast, potentially maybe single-handedly getting it vaulted or nerfed if something happens, because they really did highlight how strong it was. They didn't get it every single game, and they still won a game without it, so I don't want you guys to think that, oh, they only did well because they had a cheesy weapon that shouldn't be in the game. No, they played insanely consistent and so well in every single game. They got an average placement of 3.5 in a 6-game format, and they only got the snowball launcher once, so I don't want to hear anyone taking it away from them. I just thought it was funny after I talked about how good it was. Remember, little disclaimer, like I said at the start of the video, a lot of the teams in NA East weren't taking things as seriously. Jack, Acorn, and Slacks building their giant staircase, Chap skybasing. We didn't have teams like Centered, Edgy, Commandment. We didn't have Zate, Saf, and Stretch. We didn't have the teams that came top 10 in the first week, so things are going to be interesting coming into the heats. I don't want to take it away from any of these players, but also if they do better or worse in heats or finals, there's going to be more things changing it up and more things to be accounted for when it comes to those games that are truly serious. Among the really notable placements in NA East, the one that stood out to me most was the team that just snuck in the very last game. We had Crumbler, Nexi, and Mars getting the 6th game win, which doubled their points, made them go from, I think, 41 to 91, sliding them into top 10. So Mars OW, the Arena Warrior himself, is going to be guaranteed into the semifinals in NA East. We also had DGen Aegis Skittles, no surprise there. One of my picks to win the whole thing. Been together for multiple seasons now, just really popping off. Joji Tabs Who Fishy doing big things as well. Polarized team qualifying out of Pleasant was massive. They've been contested the whole season. They managed to come 5th place overall, kind of coming out on top of Blake, Okus, and Ronaldo, who were contesting them. Unfortunately, Ronaldo crashing in game number 2. They tried to drop Stealthy Stronghold for a little bit. It was a pretty rough tournament all round for them. They managed to not place too highly inside the top 10, but those were the noticeable placements I'd say out of NA East to really pay attention to going forward in the weeks to come. NA West went down exactly how you'd expect NA West. We didn't have Arkham Rex and Epic Whale make round 4 last week. It's the first time we've seen them in the set lobbies, and as you can imagine, they cleaned up. They finished on 208 points, getting 3 wins out of their 6 games. They looked insanely dominant, over 208 points on the board. It was just going to be a question of were they going to take it seriously. A lot of those top high caliber teams have been joking around, not playing them as seriously. And once we found out that, again, Rex has been very vocal about his tendonitis issue with his wrist, meaning that he likes to play less than what he used to. He wants to play as little as possible when it comes to these kind of tournaments. So if they can't get good practice and is not going to be taken seriously, they might as well just dominate, qualify, and then take next weekend off. And that's exactly what they did. So other than that, there was some other noticeable performances as well. Falconer, Caden, and Turtle Tavern managed to drop in there as well. So there were some other teams inside the top 10, but NA West, again, similar to OCE in my mind, smaller region with 4 heats. Pretty much anyone who's anyone, literally any good team is going to make it into the heat. So it's not as important, but I wanted to shout out the guys coming out on top, the usual kings of NA West, doing what kings do. Swinging around to my home region, OCE. Like I just said with NA West, I'm not going to break it down too seriously because anyone who's anyone is going to make it through in OCE. They're going to make it into the heats. 132 teams is just too many for OCE heats, but we had our usual kings. I talked about Epic Whale, Rex, and Arkham on NA West. Of course, Jinx, Alec, and Worthy making it through, and they finished on 172 points, coming in first with 1 win out of their 6 matches. Worth noting, Alec actually disconnected from his first 2 games, so they would have been even more dominant. We did have the other big name, Fresh, Rel, and Nubatoon, who didn't make it into round 4 in week 1 qualifying, coming in 8th place, despite some questionable pushes from teams lower on the leaderboard, just happening to want to drop on the most clouded player in the region. Just totally coincidence there. It's definitely not suspicious. Also, a bit of an issue apparently with Nubatoon having a joke on stream where he tried to ready up at the last minute to scare Fresh and Rel and ended up messing up the queue and they missed a game. So just things that didn't need to happen, but they came top 10. They're going to be in the heats. That's all that matters. But I want to turn my attention to a team that didn't play. We had the second week of 2 now where the X2Twins didn't play at all, and we finally have our answer for why. It's because X2Twins Jesse has announced his competitive retirement. People have been asking a lot of questions about why they weren't playing. Last weekend, the Twins said that they didn't want to play because their mum's birthday. I'm not questioning that was the case. They took the week off. Nobody questioned it. Again, they're going to guaranteed qual in week 2 or 3. They're way too good players not to. But we did have them go live a couple nights ago, right before round 1. I didn't talk about it straight away because I wanted to wait to make sure and see how it went. We did have the Twins going live doing a viewing party where Jesse announced that he is retiring from competitive Fortnite, and then things didn't go too great. The stream wasn't good. They ended up ending very abruptly. Jordan didn't look very happy about the situation. I had some questions about why that might be, and it's because Jesse's retiring, but Jordan wants to keep competing. Jordan wants to keep playing, and we have confirmation now of this as he's looking for a trio with Squeaks. So Jordan and Squeaks are going to be playing together, which was their old trio mate with Jesse. Jesse's going to be sidelined. Not really sure what that's going to mean for streams. I'm pretty sure they're just going to play on stream. Jordan's going to stream, and I guess Jesse's just going to be there. It's really interesting. The first time we've seen the Twins do this where one of them is going a very different direction to the other. We've had streams where one of them might play Arena or one's playing Rocket League and the other one's not there, but we've never had it where there's a tournament where one is playing and one isn't. So it's the end of an era. It's really sad to see, but I fully understand why Jesse might be going this route. He has been playing competitive Fortnite since literally the beginning, the very first Australian Open in January of 2019. They obviously been playing for there. Jordan went to World Cup. Jesse's been around in the skirmish days. They were the only team internationally to go to the secret skirmish or Katowice. I can't remember exactly which one. So it's sad to see, but it's fully understandable. But I wanted to make sure I mention it because this could be interesting. We have another big team on the block. Who's going to go with Jordan and Squeaks? I would pick almost anyone in a top tier team that isn't fully established. So I'd be counting out Jinx, Alec Worthy. I wouldn't be looking at Fresh Rel Nubatoon, but any other team that's really around that top that doesn't look like they're 100% happy with their team, they're probably going to be happy to give up their qualification if they've already gotten one to go and play with them because there's only one more week. So you've only got one more chance. If they play together, if someone leaves their team to play with Jordan and Squeaks, and the reason why I think that might happen is because literally anyone who's anyone 2 weeks into FNCS already has a team. But if they leave their team, they have to come top 10. There is no way they can place anything else and get enough consistency. So the pressure's on to find someone who works, who gels with them, and works fast because they don't have time to kind of be like, oh, we'll give up this week. Let's go next week. No, if they don't find a good teammate, X2Twins will not be playing in this FNCS. Now, the last part of today's video, I wanted to make sure that I mentioned this. I don't want to be doing a full guide on it. It's something that I've known about for a little while now. I've actually reached out to Epic personally to address the situation and say that I don't think it should be in the game. And I didn't want to highlight it for everyone to see and abuse, but it has gone out now. So I do want to make sure that I'm shouting out 72 Hours, who put out the first video really addressing this that I've seen publicly, talking about how there is a gold glitch in the game right now, or it's not a glitch, it's working how it's supposed to. This definitely won't be bannable, but it's essentially abusing the fact that there are quests in the game that have a time limit on them. They have 60 minutes where if you do the quest beforehand in a pub game, let's say you farm 200, like you have to farm 250 brick, you farm 249 brick, then you go into the tournament, you farm 1 brick and you instantly get the gold. You can see the issue this is gonna have. Teams are now going into games, and they're just getting 1,000 gold off the bat by completing all these quests. They're all getting triple upgraded epic weapons, and they're dominating their first game. And if this is something like an FNCS or like a dream hack that has queue times in between games for set lobbies, you can then, while you're waiting for the next game, if you die on spawn, go into a pub, start doing these quests, and then take them into competitive. This needs to be taken out. This needs to be patched. It needs to be fixed. And I think quite a few pros have known about this for a while, and they were probably waiting to show their hand until grand finals or heats when they really needed it. But unfortunately, some other pros, some other people have got their hands on the strategy. They were talking about it, and I guess that's how it's starting to snowball now. So I thought I would at least mention it, but I did want to make sure that people don't think I'm just taking 72 hours content here. He did make an entire video on it, and if you want to know how to do it, and you want more of like an in-depth analysis and guide, I'm definitely going to leave that to his video, which is going to be linked in the description down below. Alright guys, that does it for another video. I know it was a little bit longer. I hope you guys liked it. If you did like more of this recap with each region, more information, please chuck a like on it. Let me know in the comment section down below. If I don't cover your region, I apologize. I'm only one guy. I do need to sleep and do other things at the end of the day. I really do apologize that I can't cover everything. If you think your region deserves to be covered, start making some content. There's no reason why you can't do this either. I'm sure people would love to see it. If you do, let me know in the comments or hit me up on my socials. Let me know the content you're making on the underrated regions. I'll see what I can do to try and get you some attention. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.